Welcome to Restart India Live. This is all about real challenges and real conversations. I'm Lakshmi Pratury, and on behalf of everyone at Restart India, I thank you for joining us today. Restart India started more than a year ago as a way of connecting with you as part of Restart India movement. We started off this initiative by setting up an advisory board who could answer questions of nano businesses. And then we moved on to helping them restart by taking on ground activities. What started as just an online Q&A has now turned into a movement across India. And it's really, really close to my heart for two different reasons. One, the pandemic has taught me that relationships are the most important thing. And the second thing it also taught me is that we all need to work on our purpose a lot sooner. And we are really fortunate at Inc. and at Muthoot FinCorp to do something that we feel very strongly about that's purposeful. So there are the two reasons I'm happy about is one is I'm in the company of right people. My friend Johnny and his whole team at Muthoot FinCorp has been a great partners in this. And the second reason I'm really excited about is the purpose of Restart India itself to help nano businesses across India. So with that, I'm very pleased to introduce the host and my good friend Thomas John Muthoot. We are really fortunate to partner with you, Johnny, and with that, on to you.
Thank you, Lakshmi. As always, whatever you said is absolutely, you have taken words from my mouth. The Restart India has been a project which we started just after the first lockdown. We had interacted with our customers, which are the low-income customers, during the lockdown and understood what are their next need and what are their problems and what would be of help to them. And we understood most of them needed advice on restarting their business. And that is how we came with the idea of this Restart India portal. And now we have traveled a good mile, and we are now here to be enablers for the nano micro enterprises. And the pandemic has really proved that the nano and micro enterprises are a need of the hour, and these businesses should be promoted and supported. And that's what we are trying to do now. And the next step is to make them relevant for tomorrow. So to make them relevant for tomorrow, what we should be looking at technology adoption. And in many ways, during this pandemic, most of these nano micro business have adapted and have taken technology as one immediate step that they could take to promote their business. So now from here, we need to take them to the next level. And that is what Inc. and Muthoot is jointly trying to do through the Restart India initiative. And we would also help them to sell their products through on the digital platform. So wherever they need help, we would support them.
Sure. Thank you, Johnny. And I would love for all the listeners, our whole community, to support the cause and shop local to help the small businesses around you, because they are the lifeblood of our system. And we really want you to prefer to shop local. And if you feel any small business around you needs help, please write to us. So with this, I want to come to the most important part of this session, which is to introduce you to a wonderful person, an entrepreneur, and an Inc. fellow, and one of the most brilliant people I met. And this is the kind of person that inspires me to do what we do at Inc. I'd like to introduce you to Ankit Agarwal, founder and CEO of Phool. Ankit is a social entrepreneur. He's really been the pioneer of a technology called flower cycling. You'll know more about it as we talk. It's about converting waste from places of worship, flowers from anywhere, into patented lifestyle products. And there is a larger cause. One is to save River Ganges. And there's another cause, which we will talk about later, about the kind of people he employs and what is his goal of how he wants to change the lives of his own team members. He's, ever since he's been an Inc. fellow, he's gone on to many, many, many accolades. He's been awarded as Fast Company's 2018 World Changing Ideas. Help Us Green is world's first lean and profitable solution to solve a monumental problem. It's bringing hope to revive the lifeline of more than 420 million people, which is the Ganges. Ankit has worked on sustainability projects across 26 countries, and is among 21 young leaders selected for extraordinary skills by the Asia Society. Recently, Ankit was named in the Forbes India 30 Under 30 and received United Nations Climate Action Award. He's also the recipient of Unilever Young Entrepreneur Award, GSG Millennial Honor, and prestigious United Nations Young Leader for Sustainable Development Goals. So with all that, I would like to welcome Ankit. Ankit, we are really delighted to have you here. And we would love to talk to you about exploring purpose-driven and impact-oriented businesses. We would love to talk to you about that. Welcome, Ankit.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'm very happy to be here. And what I just heard, the Restart India mission, it sounds very, very challenging. And it is, I think, a step in the right direction with small businesses like us getting support from the Muthoot Group. I think if more businesses follow suit, our country would be a way better place to live.
Ankit, I think it'll be great to start with your personal journey.
Sure.
And say that, you used to work for large corporations. You are this is the path you took. So tell us a little bit about how this came about.
Sure. So I have a Czech friend. His name is Jakub. So he had once come down to India. And at that point in time, ma'am, something happened. Yeah. At that point in time, I was working with Semantic Corporation as an automation scientist. And Kuba had come down to India and he wanted to see the real Indian culture, which is like tier 2, tier 3 towns. He had spent time in Bangalore, Mumbai. He was like, no, this is like any other metropolitan. I want to see the real India. So I asked him, okay, come down to my hometown, which is Kanpur. And I went to Kanpur to just give him the real taste of how we Indians live, our culture and everything. And see, in my hometown, Kanpur, there are not many places that I can take someone to visit. So I took Kuba to the ghats of the river Ganges. And luckily, unluckily, that date was Makar Sankranti. So Makar Sankranti is this festival that marks the ending of winters. And all the farmers, everyone take a dip in the river Ganges and thank the Surya, the sun god, for the summers to come in, because it's now time for them to like cut their ag way and everything. So what happened was, Kuba and I sat upon this ghat for about 60 minutes. And he started counting. He counted around 147 people, including women and small children, taking a dip in the very dirty water. And some people were even doing Surya Namaskars. A person had set up a shop nearby, selling plastic containers. People were filling those containers with that water, drinking it. And the water was actually so dirty that we didn't even want to touch it. And so we broke into a conversation and he started questioning me, why are these people even doing this? And I tried to explain him, this is the river Ganges, this is a goddess, this is a lifeline. Don't worry, we have been doing this for centuries, nothing happens. This water has self-healing properties and God knows what. And so he said that if this river is so religious, so revered, why don't you try and clean it? And I was like, no, this is self-cleaning, don't worry. And he asked me, okay, why is it so dirty? And the reasons were innumerous. There is fecal sludge, refuse from tanneries, everything used to go inside the river. And suddenly he said that, why don't you do something about it? And I was like, boss, this is not Europe, this is India. Like, we are like the size of whole of your continent, don't worry. And like, he said, no, seriously, why don't you start? And I was like, what do I do? Like, how can I do something about it? And then he said the river Thames was even dirtier than this. I was like, are you joking? The river Thames.
Really?
And then we actually Googled and we saw that at one point of time, the river Thames and river Rhine were dirtier during World Wars. And all of this was happening suddenly. A nearby temple dumped in a tempo full of flowers in the water. And what happened was all the oil or pesticides that might be there in the water, that started to come on the surface of water and light started refracting through it. And I was like, wow, I have seen my parents put temple waste in the water. I've seen my grandparents put temple waste in the water. Everyone I know puts religious waste, temple waste, either near a tree in the temple or in the river Ganges. No one has ever thought of this practice. And is there something even like called as flower pollution? So that is how the seed was sown. I went back to Pune and my heart was not at rest. And I felt that I want to do something. I wanted to do something. And after like a few months, I decided to quit Semantic and get into this full time. The only cue point I had was that I wanted to solve the temple waste problem. And I don't come from a business background, nothing. I was a science or engineering guy working on software and code. So the first thing that I did was I started mapping the journey of the flower. Where does a flower come from? Where does it go? Who are the different stakeholders? What are the touch points in the life of a flower? And is there someone who's doing about it? What is the quantity of flowers that go into the water? Is there some data around it? Is there some regulation around it? And I found that there's nothing. No one even thinks about this. Everyone felt that, solve the bigger piece, which is the tanneries, which is the fecal sludge. No one was focusing on flowers. And everywhere I went, like some bigger temples had some composting machines, but they were not being used. And everywhere I went, like I was like 25, 26 then, and everyone was like, no, you're mad. Go back to your boss. Go back to your office. Don't do all of these things. Nothing will happen. You don't touch temple waste. And so that even made my resolve harder that I want to solve this problem. So that is how Phool like literally started. And I started with the problem, not having a solution. And slowly, what I did was I went to every single B plan in the competition in the country, where like I would get like a 2,000 rupee as a prize, or maybe a 5,000 rupee as a prize, maybe then a 10,000. And I would take that money, use it to do certain experiments, try and build a product, buy a machinery, things like that. So that is how Phool started.
So your journey has been so tough. And where are you today?
Okay, so where are we today? So now we have now literally developed the flower cycling technology. We've raised around $3 million in equity. Our last round from Ms. Alia Bhatt. Then today we have around more like this year we will close in around $2 million in sales revenue. We currently employ around 138 women full time. We've got 4 units now, 3 in Kanpur, 1 in Varanasi. We have also invested very heavily into R&D. So I would say that things are going okay, and by God's grace, it will go better in the future.
So what has remained core to Phool?
Okay, so the core to Phool are 2 things. Our mission is to provide livelihoods by cleaning the Ganges. So these are the 2 missions. One is to clean the Ganges. Second is the livelihoods. So in what we basically do is we collect waste flowers from temples and we convert them into charcoal-free incense sticks. So normally incense that are available in the market are made from charcoal. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to replace charcoal from the incense. That is one. Second is we've very heavily invested into R&D, where we've been able to make a material from these waste flowers, which behaves exactly like animal leather. So we are calling it leather. That is the short for floral leather, flower leather. So this material exactly has all the properties like animal leather, is versatile, has the tensile strength, the elasticity. It can be tweaked to get any kind of finish, any kind of design. It has even better insulation properties than animal leather. So the core, so one is the production and the sales part of it, which is the conversion of any effluent that goes into the Ganges. Second is the choice of people that we've been able to employ. So in India, there are about 1.5 million manual scavengers. So manual scavengers are people who jump neck deep into clogged sewers and scrape human feces from dry toilets, keep it upon their heads to finally walk kilometers to dispose of the human excreta. And no one wants to literally even talk about this subject. It's such a big taboo. So the mission is to like employ women from the community and help them not only like have a life which has financial freedom, but a life of dignity and disease-free life of dignity and respect. So these are the two cores of Phool.
Yeah. And I remember talking to you about this, Ankit, is that there was a time when you were wondering whether you should do a social enterprise just focused on these women, or here you've been able to create a successful entity and give them a livelihood at the same time. Instead of asking for donations to help them, you're able to provide them with, with jobs through the company that you've created. So I really want to commend you that it's a very unique way that you're solving the social cause that's really close to your heart, and through an enterprise and recycling at the same time. So tell me a little bit about how do you manage all the logistics? How does it operate actually? You have
Sure.
I'm sure you also have supply chain logistics and all that kinds of stuff. So how do you manage all this operationally?
Sure. Okay. Before that, I would want to tell you why I did want to go to the donation or the NGO route. See,
Yes.
if we really want to solve this problem, right? Like India has around 8 million tons of waste flowers. You need 10,000 more people like me to actually get into this and solve this problem. And we Indians, wherever there's little money to make, we Indians put our head there. So if I would have started an NGO, I would have been a lone player. But when I start a company, then if it does well, many other people will try and do the same thing, and we will be able to collectively solve the problem. So that is the thought behind having a entity rather than having a NGO-based donation. Yeah. That's one. Now to the operations and the logistics of how we manage. So what happens is every day we have our own vehicles that go to these temples and collect these flowers, bring them to our unit, where first of all the pattar, which is the vessel in which the flowers are kept, all the paper, all the threads, all the milk packets, the plastic cups, everything are segregated. So now it becomes a flower waste and every other thing is segregated. Then depending upon the species, these flowers are separated, like marigolds are separated, roses are separated. Then what we have done is we have developed our own bioculum that is sprayed on these flowers to offset any pesticide residue that might be there. Then these flowers are sprayed with that bioculum. Then these flowers are washed again and then sun-dried. Then these flowers are pulverized, then converted, depending upon their carotenoid level. These are either converted into the incense or these are stored to make leather. So this is how the operation works. And once these incense are made, generally we are a D2C brand. D2C is a direct-to-consumer brand, where we cut out all the middlemen and directly sell the product online. So we basically sell 90% of our produce through online sales channels.
Mm. Now, just to clarify, when the process you use, it's not chemical, it's bio process, right? So you don't use any chemicals in what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay. So can you just talk a minute about that? What does it actually mean?
Okay. See, the normal incense that is available in the market is made from charcoal. So first of all, we've been able to replace the charcoal. Second thing is, instead of using any artificial perfumes, we dip our incenses in pure essential oils, and there's no alcohol in them as well. So for example, we still don't have a sandalwood incense. because people like there are brands in the market that sell sandalwood incense for like 10 rupees, $20, $30, even like $100. So that's technically impossible. Like the sandalwood oil costs more than lakh rupee a kg. You can't make sell that for like $10. So that is all chemistry that is being served to the consumer. So we don't do that. We have pure incenses like holy basil, which is tulsi. We have orange oil, then vetiver, all these Indian aromatic oils that are essential oils that are available. We use them to make our incense rather than having a chemical process to it. So we are also now the world's first fair trade certified fragrance brand, Fair for Life. So there are people who say that they are certified, but we have actually gone ahead and put our like buck to where our mouth is. And we are India's first EcoCert certified natural home fragrance brand as well. So we've put a lot of science behind it. Like every single batch is tested for presence of any carbon molecule. We even do a EDS bombarding and molecule electron testing on the incense. So those things are also done.
Ankit, how many units you have, manufacturing units?
So now we have 4 manufacturing units, 3 in Kanpur. We have just started one in Varanasi recently. So currently we do around 3.4 tons of flour every day in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh, and around 7 to 8 tons per day in Varanasi. So both are in Uttar Pradesh.
So what are your plans? Are you putting more units now?
Yes. So we've just closed our fundraise, the large fundraise round, and now we are in the process of setting up 2 more units. So the aim is to be able to at least be able to employ 500 women in this coming financial year. So that is what the target is.
And how much time do you take to set up a unit?
So we take around 2.5 months now, because we know what kind of systems are needed, what kind of space is needed, and everything. So now it takes around 2.5 months, and we are ready to go.
So at some stage you could even franchise, no, your
Yes.
manufacturing.
Yes.
You could look at so that this can be a source of income for a small family. They can set up. Currently, how many customers you have?
So we sell online. We have around more than around 2.2 lakhs of individual customers, paying customers who have bought through our website. And we focus generally, like, see, I didn't have money, very honestly, when we were starting, right? And when you try and sell on Amazon and other e-commerce players, you don't get data. And you do, like, there are other players, like the traditional FMCG players whom you're competing with. And we didn't have budgets. So we tried, earlier we were just based on word of mouth and through our website. So we tried and direct all the traffic to our website. And so that is how we've like every stone on stone is like,
So this is a big learning for a small business for them to adopt technology. So is there any learning which you would like to give to the viewers on setting up your e-commerce, your sale on your website?
Sure. So see, first of all, I would say that nothing is impossible. That is the bottom line. Now, because when I started, every person I went to, like in the industry, they said, incense you cannot sell online. Incense is a product no one will buy online. Why will people buy online? You get it for 10 rupees in the Kirana shop. No one will buy this. So I went against all of that, and I used Shopify as a platform. So I would sincerely advise people nowadays, setting up your own shop on an e-commerce platform is very, very easy. It won't take more than 2-3 hours of your time. There are guided tutorials that are available online, and it is very easy now. So if people can set up their shop on Shopify, it can actually, you can see orders coming down. And nowadays, even like the fulfillment part, like if you see the e-commerce journey, it can be divided into 3 parts. One is setting up the shop. Second is the fulfillment of order. Once you get the order, what do you do next? So now there are players like ShipRocket, EasyRocket, then there are SalesCart and other softwares that help you integrate like all the logistics. So for example, you have to pack your product, keep it, label it. Someone will come at your home, they will pick up the product and then go and deliver it to your customer. Third part is getting the payments. So even that is now fairly easy. Like when we started, it was still in the development phase. There were no straight answers, but now it is very fairly easy. And you can reach out to any person on this earth. Like for example, we are based in Kanpur, which is a tier 3 city in Uttar Pradesh. There are very less resources. And from there, we are able to ship products all across the country, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. We get so many orders from the US of people wanting to buy the product over there. So what we do is we send the product to the airport where their relatives or someone take up their products. So it's very easy if you want to set up an e-commerce now, and is very within budgets, and it's easy to do.
I want to just insert a question we have from the audience. It's from Ritika from Bombay. She's saying, religious places have always had sentiments and sensibilities attached to them. So how did you manage to cater the sensibility while making your product more accessible? Did you have any issues with people in how you are processing something from a place of religion?
Ma'am, when I started, no one had seen anything coming out of temple waste. And I was like 25. So everyone felt, what madness. And now when I analyze this, there are two parts of this. One is the priest and everyone felt, today this person is taking the flower. Will he turn up tomorrow? What is he actually doing this? Because I didn't have any answers. I couldn't explain what I'm trying to do. And if it's a religious, it has a lot of religious sentiments attached to it. What if I go and throw those flowers on the roads? And what if some issue happens and things like those? But slowly, when they saw that I am a regular and I am not trying to harm anyone, I'm trying to make incense, which is again used in worshipping, it became a little easier. Then I used a hack. In the Hindu Aarti, there's this line, Tera Tujhko Arpan. So what I started saying was that you and I are no one to stop this. This is God's will. These are God's flowers. And now he wants them back in the form of an incense. So it's not you and me who are doing this. It's the God who is doing this. So no one has an answer when it's the God's will, right? So that is the hack I used.
So in our conversation, you had mentioned you started with few thousands.
Yes.
And from few thousands, when did you get the first funding? And how easy was you to convince your first funder? And you have subsequent funding also. So somebody who is looking to raise funds, what would you want to tell them?
Okay. So see, funding, the bigger challenge in funding is to be able to meet that person, because generally what happens is good investors, good people, they don't have time. That is one of the biggest issues. And when we are starting out, we don't have links. How do I reach that investor? Like everyone says, investor kahan milega? So what I used as a hack was, there are B-plan competitions that are organized across the country by all sorts, every academic institution, from an IIT, IIM to every engineering college, every MBA college, they do a business plan competition. What happens is, judges in these competitions are people from the industry, people from the investor community who actually have funds. So I met my first investor over there at a similar competition at IIM Calcutta, which happens to be Mr. Manoj Kumar, who heads the innovation at Tata and Tata on innovation and entrepreneurship. And he also started Social Alpha to fund startups like us. So that is how I met my first investor. And over there, I would literally say I truly believe in pitching at business plan competitions, because there are 2-3 things that happen. One is you get 10 minutes of dedicated time without anyone coming and disturbing you with that investor or with that judge. One. Second is you get advice for free. If you are able to maintain that relationship with the judges, you get that advice for free, which generally people pay so much to these consultants. And if someone generally likes the idea, they either connect you with someone and things like those. So that is how it worked. And I would truly say now it has even become more easier, because with LinkedIn and all these modern tools, everyone you can simply approach, have a nice email. Uh, uh, 2, 3 tips are like, make sure your email is very nice, your subject is there. Don't use like slang, don't use short forms. Like nowadays, people, when they're writing email, hey, like all those like millennial slang and all those, they are not very, I wouldn't encourage them. When you being a proper email with solicited time, which should give the other person the idea of why that person should give you that 10, 15 minutes. And if you get that meeting, go crack it. Even like there are so many online education now on how to make a proper pitch deck, like a 5 slide, 10 slide, just simply telling your idea in a very succinct manner. So there are all those tools available if people can use them well. Now I've seen like people even started, like big investors, they're now investing over WhatsApp. So that is the level of investments that are going across in the country.
So,
So-
in the next, if you have to expand, what is your plan for the next 5 years?
Yes. So in the next 5 years, what we want to basically do is we want to at least make a dent in the leather industry. Because if you look at the animal leather industry, so animal leather and livestock, two industries are tightly coupled. And these two industries consume around 30% of Earth's green land mass. 27% of Earth's freshwater supply goes to this industry. So, and in return, this industry has the highest methane emission on Earth, which is 27%. And we people don't think about it. And whatever said and done, we humans love leather because it delivers status, luxury, and comfort. Leather is like it's your status. So we want to make leather history. We want to put a dent on the leather market. So that is what we're aiming at. And we want to at least have 4 more flower cycling centers. And when you said about the next 5 years, our larger goal is also to be able to set up a micro flower cycling network where people who share the similar kind of bent and mindset, we want to formulate our processes and structures in such a way that these people can literally pick it up and then replicate the model in their part of the country. So that is the 5-year goal.
I want to expand a little bit on what Johnny asked earlier, Ankit. Sure. Is it at all possible for this to become something someone can start in their neighborhood, like a microcredit kind of a thing? Can someone do flower cycling off their local temple in their community center? Or so? I mean, can you give a package, a tool set that someone can do it in smaller ways also, and then latch onto your sales system and your products, etc.?
Yeah. So, ma'am, actually, that is what like we are currently working on. We're trying to like formalize the processes and everything so that see, we have now got international grade certification. So everyone we partner with needs to follow those same set of systems and processes. And also the mission of being able to employ women. That is a core to what Phool does. So to have the same set of like systems, same level of empathy. Like for example, we don't have a selection policy in terms of whom we employ. So it's a first come first serve. We maintain a register. Anyone who wants a job, just write a name there. Wherever there's an opening, we call that person. You were never sacked or penalized if something goes wrong or something like that. We literally give like 2-3 months to a person, like hand holding, to like just gain that confidence. And like, yes, it's okay to make mistakes. We are all equal. We're trying to make this work. Even in our factories now, so we have like removed that supervisor layer. We are now like, you would find it funny, but like when we employ people, they don't even know how to write their name. But after 6 months or so, now that person is able to like read and write basic English and do maths and numbers. Every quarter we do an exam. Literally, there's an exam that happens, a test paper. I'll send the WhatsApp to you. You can see it. And according to that, look, whoever scores well, they are rated, and they become the leader for that quarter. And every day there's a class that happens from 5 to 6 where we teach everything apart from work, so that the women themselves become the leader in their own hierarchy. And what we've seen is there's so much of sea change now that there's such a strong sense of ownership in the work that the women have. Like even if we are not there, the work goes on like a smooth orchestra.
I have a couple of questions for you, Ankit. One is about, we talked about leather. Can you talk a little bit about Flora Foam, the packaging material that you create, and how is it being used today?
Sure. So, I very strongly believe that to solve this problem, right, like any waste problem, there has to be a significant amount of R&D that needs to be done. The problem that or the challenge that I see in India is that we Indians are very R&D averse. Like we say that, oh, America is doing this country is doing that, but there is so much of money, that dollars that are spent on R&D, right? When it comes to India, oh, R&D ka koi use nahi hota. We just try and ape what the other countries are doing. From day one, I specifically allocated everything that we had. Around 40% of the total budget went into R&D. So we, apart from leather, what we've been able to also do is we've been able to convert these flowers into a material that behaves exactly like styrofoam. So styrofoam, or thermocol as we Indians call it, is the 5th biggest pollutant on earth. As of now, mankind does not know a way to recycle thermocol. And the sad part is that 91% of thermocol is single use. Like, for example, you order a product, maybe from Amazon or somewhere. If you get styrofoam in it, you literally throw the styrofoam. No one keeps it at their home. So what this material, we are calling it Flora Foam. Again, foam made from flowers, has all the similar properties like styrofoam, is lightweight, is white in color. And even above and beyond, this material does not burn like normal styrofoam, because this is not made from petrochemicals. And I am not even claiming biodegradable, but I'm going a step ahead. And I'm claiming this material is home compostable. It completely decomposes once it comes in, like completely submerged into soil bacteria in 45 days. So we are now, like with this recent raise, we've been able to set up our first unit for Flora Foam after so many years. And everyone I went to said, this is madness. Like all those things of even like COVID-1, COVID-2, they were very harsh. All my R&D was washed away. It's a completely biological process. Experiments are long, gestation periods are long, but we somehow stood to this thing, and hopefully things will be better. Yes.
Which companies, who's using them today?
So see, Flora Foam, we are under NDAs, but for Leather, Tommy Hilfiger is the first one to sign a pilot with us. They've Tommy Hilfiger. So they've even put money in the pilot. The first batch is will be supplied to them. Around 5 different SKUs will be made out of it. So COVID-2 had put us a little break on the R&D process and everything, but now things are smooth.
So you have been recognized as a UN young leader for SDG. So tell us what all impact you have made for sustainability and SDG.
Okay, so SDG, just for the wider audience, is the Sustainable Development Goals. So the United Nations has come up with these frameworks where what they've done is they've divided the goals into 17 different categories, which together, if the world achieves, the world can be a way better place to live in, and across all the parameters in terms of humanity, in terms of the environment, in terms of lives on earth, in terms of decent working condition, every single thing has been covered. So I am a young leader for the SDGs appointed by the Secretary General, where I promote the women's and champion the women's right and decent working conditions in India. So in terms of the impact that I've been able to create through my work, one is till date we have converted more than around 1.5 lakh tons of waste of flowers from going into the river. Imagine the amount of pesticides and everything that would have gone into the river. That's one. Second is we employ around 138 women full-time. Out of these, what we've observed is around 70% of the women send their kids to school. So see, the change will not actually happen in this generation, but it's the next generation where the kids are able to go to school and the tag of scavenging and the taboo is lost. So that's the second impact. With the third, what we've now also moved, we're very aggressively moving on is we're trying to inculcate different streams of waste into our supply chain. For example, the ag waste. So So if you're aware that Delhi and our capital NCR region becomes a chokehold of pollution because of the stubble burning. So we have for the making of Flora Foam and leather, we're now decoupling the technology to be just not able to use flowers, but to also be able to use farm stubble as well. So those are the three basic criteria.
Ankit, I would love for you to tell the story of, I think some of this empowerment is real, and you talked about bringing dignity, and especially for manual scavenging women, there is a, unspoken untouchability in the neighborhood, so why don't you tell us the story of someone whose life has changed?
I generally talk about, there are two, once Jacqueline Nograt from Acumen, she had come down to Kanpur to see our unit, and we were fairly new, just starting out. And she asked one woman, "What is that thing that you like working at Phool?" And that lady pointed towards this is even very bewildering for me as well, even today when I think about it. So she pointed towards a plastic stool, and which is not more than 150, 250 rupees, around $3. And we asked why it's a plastic stool. And she said that I am 55 years old. No one has ever offered me a seat before. So this is the first place where people have asked me oops, you can sit on a seat. So that's one. Now, second is about Prema. So when we're just again, this is in the starting days, it had been around a year when we were started working. And so one day this Prema, she started distributing sweets in the factory. And we were around 70 people then. And I was like, Amma, why are you wasting money? She was like, no, I'll give half a laddu, but I'll give a laddu to everyone. And I said, what happened? And then she said, I bought a refrigerator. I'm like, you already have put money in a refrigerator. Why do you bring cold water? Why a laddu? She said that when she was 17 years old, the place where she used to clean the toilets, she wanted to have cold water, but the people didn't want her to touch the utensils, so they didn't give her water. At that point in time, she had decided that someday she would want to buy her own refrigerator. So after working with us for about 7 to 8 months, she was not only just able to save that money to be able to buy that refrigerator, but her so-called upper class neighbors who used to earlier despise her, their children came and had water from her refrigerator. She said that now my children are equal to their children and I can die peacefully. So I think it's not just about cleaning the waste on the lands, but it's also about cleaning what our early generations have done.
Yeah. That's great. And we have one more question from the audience. This is Revati from Visakhapatnam is asking, what are the ways you think in which India can revolutionize the way it manages waste?
So I think the first and foremost and the biggest thing is segregation at source. For example, Bangalore, Indore, these cities, they are way ahead in waste management. Simple reason, waste is segregated at home. And that is one of the biggest problems. If we just follow basic, simple rules of segregating our waste, first, 3 things will happen, 3 or even more. One is, it will be, we will waste less resources in segregating the waste. That's one. Second is the recyclable waste, the metal, the paper can be put to good use. Currently, what happens, all of that gets mixed and half of it becomes impossible to reuse again. We are wasting 2 types of resources. One is in segregation, then that whole thing becomes non-usable again. So if we just do segregation and waste, this problem, the waste problem in India can be largely solved.
So Johnny asked this earlier to you, but maybe you can expand on this a little bit of the future for Phool. I mean, I know you're going into leather and all these things, but if you think of what is the ultimate goal for you 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 15 years from now? I mean, what would you like Phool to become known for? Is it in revenues? Is it the number of people you can influence? Just give us some parameters.
So the biggest parameter for us, or the one that I operate with, is the change in mindset. So Phool is bringing change in mindset at 2 levels. One is that bringing that change in the orthodox temples, that yes, waste can be recycled, and that's one. I want like recycling units across the country where nothing goes off as waste in the landfills or in the river. That's one. Second is the mindset change in the women that, or like in the population that we are employing, that everyone is equal, and like everyone can have a life of dignity and respect. That's it.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, Ankit, how much weight of flowers that an average temple in a neighborhood would generate? And on the other hand, how many tons of flowers do you think, say something like a Tirupati would generate? Okay. Just so we understand the weight of flowers.
Yeah. So first of all, this is very subjective. Reason being, it completely depends on the size of the temple and the popularity of that temple. That's one. So for example, Kanpur has around 3.4 tons of temple waste every day.
So, 3.4 tons of waste every day.
Every day, every single day. Yes.
From how many temples is that?
So that is from around 73 to 74 temples. Now, out of this, major around 2 tons is comes out of the 3 temples, the 3 biggest ones. So those are the bulk generators. Okay. Now, even this varies on different days, like of the week. Like for example, different gods have different days, so it changes across now, and it changes during seasons and months as well. So during Sawan, during Mahashivratri, or the whole, or the like the festive days, it is higher. So it is like completely changes, and now like we have developed this acumen over like 3 or 4 years of operation, and we know kab kitna phool kahan se milega. So that's there.
So tell me the highest, which is the temple that you think, like say Tirupati on a New Year's Day, like what is the maximum amount?
So see, maximum amount is like, for example, Jagannath during the Rath Yatra, they use around 50 to 60 tons of flowers in a day. So there's no limit.
50 to 60 tons in a day.
In a day during the Rath Yatra days. And see, there is no limit. Like if there is a very high donation, someone wants to do a very big shringar in the temple, you can even like, it's like impossible to like have a number.
Ankit, see,
yes,
hearing you, I would also estimate the kind of the trade in flowers. So much of flowers are being sold and bought by the people who go to the temples. So that is itself is a big business. Again, it's a small business, micro, nano business. But today we talk about a circular economy. So you have actually brought the full circle. So there are vendors selling flower. So the deity gets the flower, then the flower is sold. And today flower is recycled into good sustainable products, and it was a great actually it is the real circular economy works here. Congratulations.
Thank you. No, really, thank you, Ankit. It's been really, really amazing. Any parting words from you? What would you like to say?
First of all, I would like to thank you. I know for you, it's very difficult to like not sleep, and it's like 4 a.m. in San Francisco. So that's one. And my very sincere thanks to Johnny sir for 2 things. One, you're very, very humble with the kind of stature that you have, and you've made it so easy for someone like me to talk to you. So thank you for that. And second thing is, you are really giving like Indians like us, like I am sure if I would have been of like in my beginning years, I could have used help from Muthoot Finance. And I wish you luck that only every single day this movement grows larger.
Good to hear from you. And one of these days, we'll surely meet in Kanpur and visit your unit.
100%. Yes. Yes.
Love to see that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And so everyone, thank you so much for listening to us. Please continue to visit us on our website, which is www.restartindia.com. as well as all our social media pages for exciting updates. It's really wonderful to hear from someone like Ankit. Please share this conversation with all your friends so we can inspire many young people to start journeys like this. This is your initiative, and we are here for the journey with you. And Ankit, it's always a delight to interact with you. I mean, just so all of you know, Ankit has a very, very busy schedule, not just running the company, but also safeguarding the women who work there. And it's been really a privilege, Ankit, to be on this journey with you. And best of luck in everything you do.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the best, Ankit. Good to have you for this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.